Revision Module 1. Exercise F, page 104. Hello and welcome to What Do You Do? The weekly career show where we talk to different people in different jobs to find out what they're like. Today in the studio our guest is Annie Hall, an artist from Stafford. Welcome to the show, Annie.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't you tell us what made you want to become an artist?
Well, quite simply, I love art, and I'm good at it, and in particular sculpture. My parents are expressive people, my mum's a dancer, and my dad's a teacher, so I guess I get my creativity from them. As a child, you could always find me playing with modelling clay and making these strange creations. Now, I can get people to buy them for lots of money.
You're joking, but you're actually really passionate about your work, aren't you?
Yes, I am. And I think I put some of my character into my artwork. I mean, some of them are amusing, others are more serious. It depends on the subject, and more than anything on the mood I'm in when I'm creating them.
I see. So how do you come up with some of the ideas for your pieces?
Well, I usually decide on a theme from nature, such as trees, plants, flowers, and the like. Then, I create several pieces related to that theme. For example, these days I'm working on a series connected with water, and right now I'm making a strange sea creature.
How do you work? Do you use models?
No, I don't. I use my imagination. I get a feeling of what I want to create, and I let it flow through me and into the sculpture. I spend anywhere from 4 to 8 hours a day in my studio. When I find myself getting tired, I stop what I'm doing. I don't stay up at night thinking about work either. I do something completely different at night time so I can approach my work with a clear mind the next day.
You've got an exhibition coming up, haven't you?
Yes, I have. It's part of the city's Community Arts Week from the 13th to the 20th of August.
And where are you exhibiting your work?
At the Mellor Gallery.
Is that in the city centre?
Yes, it's right next to the Harris Library.
Well, good luck with that. It's time to take a break now. Don't go away. We'll be back after these short messages and we'll be... Exercise H, page 104.
Hi everyone, my name is Phil Beard and I'm here to tell you all about my interesting hobby, metal detecting. Actually, to me, metal detecting is more than a hobby. It's my only free time activity because I enjoy it so much. It's not something I do by myself though. I often go with a couple of my friends down to the beach or in the fields to look for hidden treasures. The fact that I never know what I can find is what makes it interesting. When I hear the beep of the metal detector, my heart always jumps with excitement. To start with, you need a metal detector. You can buy a fairly cheap one online or at a hobby shop, but don't expect too much from these ones. If you are serious about metal detecting, it's worth spending a bit more money on your detector. Then you also need a pair of headphones and a small digging tool. I like to hunt for anything at all, but you can buy different types of metal detectors that look for specific items, such as old coins and jewellery, or even precious metals. Metal detecting is something that you get better at over time. In the beginning, don't expect to find more than rings from fizzy drinks or a few rusty nails, but keep trying. These days, I find jewellery, coins and relics. You can give yourself a head start by choosing where you hunt carefully. For instance, go to the town hall and look up different areas on old maps. A field can be just a field, but 100 years ago or more, maybe it was something else. Well, good luck and happy hunting. There are treasures beneath the ground to find if you look for them.
Revision Module 2. Exercise E, page 107.
Hello and welcome to Opera Stars. Today it is my great pleasure to welcome one of the greatest male opera singers around today, Mr. Alfie Jones.
Thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, I believe you are currently performing in London's West End?
Yes, that's right. I'm at the Queen's Theatre on Shaftesbury Avenue in Les Miserables in the role of Jean Valjean.
How's it going?
Oh, it's amazing. I'm having such a great time and I can't believe it's been a full house for every performance, which is fantastic.
How many shows are there?
We're on 6 nights a week and twice a week in the afternoons. I think it's getting booked up for the next few weeks though, so don't wait too long to get a ticket.
And how long is it running for?
We're on until the end of October, and then we're going on tour around the UK.
For those who don't know the story, can you tell us the plot?
Sure, the setting is in France in the 1800s, not long after the French Revolution. And it's the story of a man who escapes from prison and starts a new life. He makes a new life and becomes the mayor of a small town, but his past catches up with him.
The story comes from a novel by Victor Hugo, doesn't it?
Yes, that's right.
And as well as performing in Les Miserables, you've got a new album out, haven't you? I've listened to it. It's brilliant.
Thank you very much. Yes, it's a combination of some of my favorite opera songs, some popular musical numbers, as well as some classic show tunes. I also do a duet with Michael Ball from Phantom of the Opera.
Wow! You're a busy man. How do you cope with such a schedule?
Well, we recorded the album a couple of months ago, and so now I'm just concentrating on the show. I have to make sure I have enough time to rest my voice, and I need to be careful and make sure that I don't catch a cold. That could spell disaster.
Well, we're going to take a break now. Stay with us and you can see...
Exercise F, page 107. Speaker 1.
It's not often that the National Ballet comes to our city, so of course I took advantage of this rare occasion and went to see them. The performance, to say the very least, was a success. I'm so glad I went because the ballet performers were amazing. They danced with such beauty, style, elegance and grace. Everyone listening can still take advantage of this opportunity and go see them. They're here until the end of July.
Speaker 2.
My friend Laura persuaded me to go to the opera for the first time. After hours of begging, I finally went along, even though I didn't want to. She was really touched by the performance, I could tell, because she went through a box of tissues very quickly. I, however, had an awful time. Sure, the opera singer could reach unimaginable notes, and the costumes were nice, but it was all in a foreign language, and I couldn't figure out what was going on. It was frustrating, to say the very least.
Speaker 3.
My sister and I went to see a musical. It was okay, but the storyline was quite predictable. It was about a bunch of young adults trying to make it in the entertainment world. There was a lot of song and dance, but it was nothing out of the ordinary. As for the main actors, they gave an honest performance. Anyway, I can't complain too much about it, seeing as we both had a reasonable time.
Speaker 4.
I love musical instruments. I play both the violin and the guitar. So it comes as no surprise to all my friends listening that I spent the evening at a classical music concert. Of course, I didn't go on my own. I went with my friend Mark. Mark also plays string instruments and enjoys classical music. We both listen to it on our iPods all the time. Anyhow, we both loved the concert. The music was relaxing and I can't wait to go again.
Speaker 5.
As for me, I had tickets to a rock concert. Wow, the band was absolutely fantastic. The music was loud and all the fans were singing, dancing and raising their hands in the air. It was terrific. The band sang all their latest hit songs and the drummer played an amazing solo. Everyone cheered so much at the end that the band came back out and played for an extra 20 minutes. Wow, I'm so happy I went. It was a great experience and well worth the expensive ticket price.
Revision Module 3. Exercise E, page 110. Welcome, listeners, to Sports Today. I'm Candice Carter, and I have a special guest in the studio with me today. It's Max Turbine, champion quad racer. Great to have you on the show, Max.
Thanks. It's great to be here.
Max, you are the winner of 4 championships in the pro quad racing circuit, and you're only 19 years old. How old were you when you started racing?
Well, when I was 9, some of my cousins were racing, and I saw them a few times at the track, but I wasn't that interested then. Later on, when I was about 12, a friend of mine invited me to his farm. He had 2 quads and we went for a ride. We spent the whole day on them. I loved it. The next day, my friend took me to the track and I signed up with his racing club. My dad was really excited about my racing, and after a year, he bought me my first quad bike for my 13th birthday.
You also tried dirt bike racing for a while, but returned to quad racing. Why? Aren't dirt bikes faster?
Not necessarily. Both quads and bikes are equally fast. It's true I did try racing dirt bikes, but I enjoy more the feeling of driving a quad. Corners on a dirt bike are not easy, where with a quad I am more in control. I like jumping on both, even though quads can be more dangerous due to their heavy weight. Jumping is my strong point. I may not be the fastest on the track, and other drivers can steer better or get out of tough spots on the track better than me, but I'm the best jumper.
And you're not afraid of driving such a heavy vehicle?
It's definitely challenging, and I need to be aware of my balance at all times. About a year ago, I broke my back in a fall.
Yes, I remember that. It was a terrible accident.
Yes, it was a frightening experience and it was very painful. My mother was very upset and she wanted me to stop, but I was back racing after 2 months as soon as my back was better. I just love it so much.
You certainly must. What advice can you give our listeners who are interested in quad racing?
First off, you need to discover if racing is for you and if you have what it takes to race. This cannot happen by just going to a racetrack and watching races. Many people go out and buy a quad before they even know if they are going to like it. This is a big mistake. And no quad class is going to show you what racing is about either. So I think the best thing to do is get involved in a race club and try racing to see if it's for you.
Makes sense to me. Thanks, Max, for joining us today and sharing with us a bit about the world of quad racing.
My pleasure.
Exercise F, page 110.
Welcome to Natural Wonders, the talk show that gives listeners exciting information about spectacular places around the world. I'm John Towns, and today we're going to talk about Mexico's Cave of Crystals. This underground cave contains the largest natural crystals ever found. With me today is Professor Andy Stewart, who is a leading geologist. Andy, tell us about the Cave of Crystals.
Sure, John. In 2000, a group of miners discovered the crystal cave purely by accident. They were working in the Nacre silver mine when they broke through the walls of the cave. They were surprised to discover enormous crystals. However, when the first scientists explored the underground cave, they faced great difficulties due to the extreme temperatures in the cave.
Was it too cold?
No, quite the opposite. It was boiling hot down there, about 50 degrees Celsius, and extremely humid, so the only way for the scientists to explore the cave was to put on a special cooling suit and a mask.
What did they see down there?
They saw beautiful crystal formations that had the shape of delicate flowers. What was truly remarkable, however, was their size. Some of the crystals were 11 meters tall and resembled huge pillars of ice.
That is amazing! So what will happen to the Cave of Crystals?
Well, the cave is accessible today only because the mining company's pumping operation keeps it clear of water. If the pumping were to stop, the cave would flood, and if the mining company doesn't make any money, it might stop the entire operation.
Well, that's very interesting. Thanks for sharing your experience with us.
Revision Module 4. Exercise E, page 113.
Michael J. Fox is a successful TV and film actor. Most people probably know him from the TV show Family Ties or the Back to the Future films. He started out as a child actor and grew up in front of TV audiences all over the world. He is also an author and an activist. He got involved in politics and political activism because of his health. In 1991, at the height of his career, the doctors told him, to his horror, that he had Parkinson's disease. This is a disease of the nervous system, which affects sufferers' movement. People with the disease suffer from tremors, stiffness, and problems with mobility. It gets worse over time and eventually affects their speech, behavior, and memory. Michael didn't tell his fans about his condition until 1998, and as his symptoms got worse, he took a step back from acting. He tried everything he could to reduce his symptoms, including taking medicine and even having brain surgery. While he was coping with his disease, he was doing everything he could to help raise awareness and try to find a cure. He set up the Michael J. Fox Foundation in 2000, which funds research into finding a cure and works hard to find therapies for the 5 million people living with Parkinson's today. The foundation is the biggest independent investor of Parkinson's disease research in the world. The total investment so far is over $250 million. Today, Michael is a best-selling author and still in demand as an actor. He appears in a number of award-winning drama series, including The Good Wife, but his main focus is working with his foundation. Debbie Brooks, the co-founder of the foundation, says that Michael is doing well and appreciates the concern of his fans and well-wishers. However, although Michael sometimes finds it relevant to discuss life with Parkinson's disease in public, he considers his health a private matter.
Exercise F, page 113. Speaker 1.
I really don't like planes. I used to be terrified of flying in the past. Nowadays, the idea of flying still makes me nervous, but I try to do things that will make my flight as stress-free as possible. I avoid traveling on small planes, and I always book direct, non-stop flights so I don't have to go through more than one takeoff and landing. I also give myself plenty of time to get to the airport. The good thing is that I don't panic anymore.
Speaker 2.
When I was a child, I was afraid of dogs. I wouldn't even go to the park to play with my friends for fear of running into one. Until one day, when I heard barking as I was walking home from school. I turned around and saw a big dark dog running towards me. I just froze. The dog came up to me and started wagging its tail. I realized it was a friendly dog and just wanted to play. From that moment, I never felt scared again.
Speaker 3. I have a real fear of anything that crawls, like spiders and ants. You know what I mean? I run and scream for my life. When I was 6 years old, we were having a picnic, and I reached for a sandwich, and I was shocked to see ants crawling all over it. I dropped the sandwich and screamed. They were everywhere, and we couldn't get rid of them. It ruined our picnic, and whenever I remember it, I still feel disgusted. Speaker 4.
I don't like thunderstorms. At home, the noise of thunder makes me hide under my bed. I always listen to the weather forecast and keep a watchful eye on the sky. It makes me anxious to venture outside during rainy or overcast weather because I'm terrified at the thought of being caught in a storm. The thing is that I know my fear is illogical, but I can't seem to help myself.
Speaker 5.
I can't remember the last time I entered an elevator. Just the thought of being stuck in one makes me shake with fear. My heart starts to beat really fast and I feel kind of sick. It's not just elevators though. As soon as I step inside a theatre or cinema and the lights go down, I start to sweat and look for the exits. I just feel that something might go wrong and I won't be able to escape.
Revision Module 5. Exercise E, page 116.
Hello and welcome to the show. Yesterday we talked about students studying abroad. To continue our discussion, we have Jeff Harper on today's show. Jeff, can you tell us what made you decide to study abroad?
Well, first I was strongly encouraged by my family, especially my older brother who had studied abroad, to try it out. I was very hesitant in the beginning because even though I am a very independent person, I had never been away from home before. But the main reason I decided to study abroad was to meet new people and learn about a new culture.
What drew you to Germany for your study abroad program?
Choosing where to study abroad was a difficult choice. I had a hard time finding courses for a summer semester. I chose Germany because my father is German, and even though I'm not fluent in German, I felt confident enough to be able to communicate with people in the city. But most importantly, it also fit perfectly with classes that I could use towards my major, so I quickly began the application process.
What was the most rewarding part of your stay?
I think the best part of studying abroad was the feeling that I belonged in the city. Little things like strangers asking me for directions in German and me knowing the answer and ordering food in German were rewarding experiences for me.
Did you run into any problems while studying abroad?
Well, the only problem I had was when I was traveling from the United States to Germany. In general, I'm afraid of flying, so going across the Atlantic alone was a stressful experience for me. My first flight was 3 hours late, so I missed my connecting flight to Berlin. After a few hours, I ended up taking the train from Frankfurt to Berlin.
Can you tell us about your living accommodations?
Well, through the university program, I had a choice to either live with a host family or find a flat in the city. I chose to stay with a host family, and I will never regret that decision. It turned out to be a great experience. My host family was a mother and her 8-year-old son. She was a music producer and was fun to speak with. She really helped me improve my German speaking skills, and I am thankful for that. They lived in a nice but noisy flat in the city centre, which didn't bother me at all.
Would you recommend studying abroad and staying with a host family to other people?
Absolutely. I think it's a great experience, and I would definitely do something like this again in the future.
Thank you, Jeff, for sharing your experience.
Exercise F, page 116.
Welcome to the program. Have you ever made a life-changing decision? There are people who have. Let's hear about some of them.
Speaker 1.
I've been working as an office manager for the last 35 years, and although I enjoyed my job, I was ready for a rest. In fact, I've been looking forward to retiring for the last few years. Now I'll have the time to travel abroad and see places I've always wanted to visit. I can also get around to lots of odd jobs around the house that need doing, but at my own pace.
Speaker 2. Things started to go wrong in my life about 2 years ago, and I knew I wanted to make some changes, starting with a new career. So I began looking for jobs abroad. Then about a month ago, I got a job offer in Asia. I accepted, and I'll be starting my new life in about a week. It feels great. Speaker 3.
I'm so excited. The movers are coming today, and all my stuff is ready and packed in boxes. It may not seem a big deal to some people, but after so many years of paying rent, it feels amazing to know that I now own my own flat. It's small, but it's in a great location.
Speaker 4.
My previous job was okay. The employees were great and the pay was good, but I just never got any sense of satisfaction from anything I did. The harder I worked, the more money the company made. But I never got a bonus, so I decided to quit and set up my own business working for myself. Now the harder I work, the more money I make. It's the best move I ever made.
Speaker 5.
I'm really looking forward to it. I've got a brand new wardrobe with lots of business suits and a shiny new briefcase. I've worked out how to get to the office, and I can't wait to meet all my new co-workers. It's a great chance for me, and I'm going to try to do my best every day.
Revision Module 6. Exercise F, page 119. Hello and welcome to the Today Show. Tonight our guest is Graham Nixon from Lancashire, who is here to tell us all about how he and a group of volunteers turned their town from a crime-riddled problem area into a peaceful, crime-free haven. Welcome to the show, Graham.
Thanks for having me.
So why don't you tell us what your town was like 2 years ago?
Well, it was awful. There were all sorts of petty crimes happening on a daily basis. The streets weren't safe. We had problems with dangerous drivers and speeding, which with a lot of young families living in the area was very worrying.
What other problems did you have?
Local businesses were affected by vandalism and shoplifting. Then when people started getting mugged on the streets, I decided it was time to say enough is enough and take back the streets of our town.
So how did you go about that?
Well, first of all, I started a community action group and asked concerned members of the public to join. Then we sat down and talked about what we could do. At first there was a small number of us, but then once we got the ball rolling and our campaign got more publicity, then more and more people joined in.
So what was the first thing that you did?
Well, I went to the council offices and demanded that they put speed limits and speed bumps on a number of the roads. They agreed and even went so far as to install speed cameras as well. They were willing to get it done without much delay, so that was a great success.
That sounds quick and easy.
Yes, but the vandalism wasn't so easy to deal with. We couldn't catch the vandals, and repairing the damage was time-consuming and expensive. Anyway, we had invited the St. John's Ambulance Brigade, the Venture Scouts, and a number of other clubs to set up groups in our town, so that teens and young adults would have some worthwhile activities to take part in. And to our surprise, the acts of vandalism became less frequent.
So you think it was being done by bored teenagers?
It seemed so, yes. We also set up a neighbourhood watch scheme, cleaned up the streets and parks, and much more.
Yes, here we have some before and after pictures to give our viewers a better idea of the changes you've made. Well, Graham, thanks so much for coming in. It's been very interesting.
Thank you.
Exercise G, page 119.
When did you first become interested in computers, Dan?
As long as I can remember, I suppose. I've grown up with them. I think my first game was a computer game and not a board game.
How did you get into this line of work?
I got into it by accident, really. I was always good at computing and programming, and I started hacking to see if I could get into secure sites. I wasn't trying to be a criminal. I was just curious to see if I could do it. I found it easy, so I contacted different companies telling them about their security problems. Then, they offered me a job as a security consultant, testing systems for weaknesses.
Is it difficult work?
Sometimes it is, because it involves long hours which are mostly at night, when there are very few other users on the system, so it's not a 9-to-5 job, that's for sure. But the work itself isn't very difficult, at least not for me.
What do you think of criminal hackers?
I can see that they may think it's very exciting and challenging to break into secure systems, but ultimately, it's a waste of their talent. They should be designing systems and writing programs. They could make a good, honest living.
So, are you ever tempted to break the law?
No, I wouldn't want to risk going to jail. Besides, I'm perfectly satisfied with my wages. There are plenty of ways to make money if you're good with computers. Security consultants like me, or designing websites, or inventing computer games, to name a few.
What do people say when you tell them what you do?
Not much. I've learned that unless they're in the business, they're not very interested. Computer systems and how they work is a boring subject to most people. They are more interested in the latest videos on the internet rather than computer security problems.